Going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and I trust that you are exhausted because rounds 2 and 3 of the 2024 NFL Draft have officially come to an end. Only day 3 remains. Rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 that will obviously take place on Saturday. And as we have had you covered throughout everything so far, we will have you covered through all of that at bloggingtheboys.com, where we have articles coming out all the time here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. We are so close to 22,000 subscribers and so close to becoming the most subscribed to team channel across all of the SB Nation universe, which obviously means a lot to us here at Blogging the Boys. My name is mentioned as RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Threads if you like what I do at RJ Ochoa. I am your trusty pilot for this adventure where we're going to be talking about the latest Dallas Cowboys selection and kind of tying a bow on what they've done so far. Let's go ahead and get to what the Cowboys just did. And you can capture, or you can check out the capturing I did. That was a weird word to use. You can check out the videos I made recapping every single Dallas Cowboys draft pick here in our YouTube channel as mentioned. But here we're going to be discussing the final selection of round 3, the final selection of day 2 for the Dallas Cowboys linebacker Marist Liufau. It's a difficult name to pronounce, so excuse me. You got to get used to some of these things sometimes. Marist Liufau. The Cowboys took Marist, obviously, with their original 3rd-round pick. They took Cooper Beebe, the Kansas State guard, with the one that they netted from the Detroit Lions in the trade down in the 1st round when they took Tyler Guyton. But this was their original 3rd-round pick, 87 overall. The Cowboys obviously have had a need at linebacker since about the 1st quarter against the Green Bay Packers. They now have one, a very physical, a very violent player, somebody who's very intellectual, who can come in and hopefully help. The Cowboys have now added 2 linebackers to their core so far this offseason, if you obviously count Marist and Eric Kendricks, who was the first and so far one of 2 external free agents who the Dallas Cowboys signed this offseason. The thing about what the Cowboys have done, and I know that this is meant to be a discussion about Marist, and I have some thoughts on him that we'll get to in just a moment, but the first 3 picks that the Cowboys made in the draft, Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Nealon, which was a bit of a surprise, but still it counts for the purposes of what we're about to say, and Cooper Beebe, all 3 of those were incredible values for the Cowboys relative to where they took them in terms of consensus rankings, in terms of prominent, analyst rankings. We talked about in the Cooper Beebe video that all 3 of the Cowboys picks at that moment in time were within the top 40 on Dane Brugler's big board. You can access Dane Brugler's big board, of course, in the Beast with an athletic subscription. That being said, this is the first one that ran kind of counter to that. Speaking of Dane Brugler, he obviously has a write-up on Marist Liufau, and the Cowboys took him with their 3rd-round pick, again, their original 3rd-round selection, but it was their second, the 87th overall pick. Dane has Marist as a 5th, 6th round grade. So this is the first true reach for the Cowboys as far as the draft is concerned. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad move or a bad pick. Obviously, a lot of people wanted to see Peyton Wilson, but the Cowboys seem to have fallen in love. And that falling in love, which is, I was going to sing the Elvis song. Is it? It is Elvis, right? I don't want to upset anybody, but I think it is Elvis. Either way, wise men. Yeah, okay. It's only fools rush in. Whatever. Anyway, the Cowboys had Marist as a 30 visit. So they fell in love then. And the Cowboys, as we know, really prioritize their 30 visits, or rather really take them seriously because they're players who they envision drafting at some point. So Marist certainly checks that box. And again, a really physical player, somebody who can kind of come in and be that imposing force that the Cowboys obviously need in the middle of their defense. He mentioned, Marist did in his conversation on the draft show on 105.3 The Fan and DallasCowboys.com, that he feels like he is a great coverage linebacker. He noted that when he was in high school, that he actually thought he was going to play DB at the next level, but he got a little bit bigger. And so he has those skills within him to be a cover player, but he's obviously got to be somebody who the Cowboys can really rely on from a physical perspective. 234 pounds. This isn't a converted safety the way that the Cowboys tried to do with Marquise Bell or something like that. This is a real linebacker, and that's something that's really important. And I understand that maybe this isn't your favorite pick of the draft so far, but it is a solid one. It is a top 100 pick. It is somebody who the Cowboys clearly believe in to a legitimate degree and who can come in and be a productive player for them. This is the final line of Dane Brugler's write-up on him. Overall, Liufau has intriguing traits with his length, burst, and violence, but he must improve his play instincts to balance out his relentless play style. He should shine as a core 4 special teamer in the NFL while he gets coached up for a chance and meaningful defensive snaps, similar to the Las Vegas Raiders' Divine Diablo. That's a great comp, obviously, because Dane is the best in the business. I think overall, I'd probably give this This pick specifically, maybe a B minus. It's the end of the third round. It's your final pick, obviously, of the day. So you want to get ahead of the curve. And remember that the Cowboys do not have a fourth round draft pick. So it's, it's a pick you got to be satisfied with. And while it might be a reach, it has to be a player who you are very confident, who you are, not very confident, a player who you can't live without, a player who you cannot wait until 174 overall to draft. Now, granted, that is a fifth round pick, and Dane has him as a fifth, sixth round grade, but you have to look at it that way. You have to look at it. The Cowboys do not have a fourth round draft pick, so they felt like they had to come away with Marist before they came up to pick again on Sunday in the fifth round. And I think when you look at it that way, it's just establishing a priority. It's just, we really want this player. We don't want to run the risk of having to wait so long on Saturday. And so let's go ahead and turn the card in now. Now, that being said, let's take a look at the Dallas Cowboys draft class as a whole. We have 4 names to look at through the first 3 rounds. Obviously, we've discussed Tyler Guyton a lot. And as mentioned, I have videos up on this channel discussing each and every pick moments after it happens. So you get my raw, initial, organic responses to them all. I would encourage you, I would actually ask you to go watch them and to like them and to subscribe, of course, here to the channel, maybe turn on notifications, things like that, whatever. But if you're just here watching this, to kind of go quickly from a 30,000 foot perspective on all of this, Tyler Guyton, a very solid A. I'm not going to go A minus, A plus, but it fits a need. And part of the grade is the trade that the Cowboys made. And obviously we now know that turned into Cooper Beebe, but the Cowboys got a lot of value out of that 24th overall pick and got a very, very exciting player. And if they have the benefit, or if they deserve the benefit of the doubt on anything, it is the development of premium offensive line talent, which Tyler Guyton certainly is. So A for me on Guyton. The Marshawn Kneeland thing was a little bit out of left field. A very talented pass rusher. And this is kind of the Dane Brugler draft, because Marshawn Kneeland is somebody who he specifically is very fond of. And this is a bit of a pick for the future of Marshawn Kneeland, because the Cowboys are obviously entering a season in which DeMarcus Lawrence is in the final year of his contract. It's hard to imagine a world where Kneeland makes a significant impact in year 1. And I'm not here to hold that against him, but I'm here to hold that against the process, because this is your second round pick. This is 56 overall. You're supposed to get somebody that is going to contribute right away, or at least contribute in a significant fashion right away. Think about the way that Sam Williams, was utilized throughout his rookie season with the Cowboys. He had moments, but he didn't really get on the field a ton because DeMarcus Lawrence was ahead of him. Dorrance Armstrong was ahead of him. And while Dorrance Armstrong is now out the door, Sam Williams has risen in the hierarchy. So it's going to be very difficult, I think, to find defensive snaps for Kneeland throughout his rookie season, but maybe the Cowboys have a plan. That's why that pick's a little bit weird. It's not bad to me. It's just a little bit off. Next up, Cooper Beebe, by far the best pick that the Cowboys have made so far throughout the draft. Just an incredible guard, an incredibly stout, violent, physical, blue collar, just wants to play football kind of guard, and to have that along the interior, potentially at the center position, because he does have that flexibility, is a really huge win. And again, that you got that because you traded down in the first round. It's just magnifico, chef's kiss. And then we just discussed, obviously, Marist Liufau in extensive detail. All told, if I had to grade the class right now, I'd put it at about a B, maybe B plus, kind of depending on the mood that I'm in. And when we look at draft grades, I think people look at Bs and they get really upset about them. That's a really solid day's work. It's a really solid couple of days' work. It's difficult to put together a class that is a B. And the Cowboys have done that. And look, they don't have a fourth round draft pick, but they do have some capital to work with. Let's take a look at my tweet. You should follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RJ Ochoa. As noted, the Cowboys have taken Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Kneeland, Cooper Beebe, and Marist Liufau. They have 4 picks left and only 1 before we get to the 200s. That's 174 overall. So again, they took Liufau at 87 overall. They would have had to have waited, 87 picks until selecting again. So perhaps they really did not want to wait that long. In that sense, I'm okay with it. But 174 overall is their first pick on Saturday, unless they trade up. We'll get to that in a moment. 216, 233, and 244 will round out their class as it is currently constructed. Now, we've talked a lot about this, and a lot of other Cowboys content creators have mentioned it, how the Cowboys are currently projected to receive a handful of compensatory picks in the 2025 NFL draft. Because of that, it stands to reason that the Cowboys have draft capital next year in 2025 to play with. Now, they already sent their 7th-round draft pick in 2025 to the Lions in the Guyton Beebe trade that netted the Lions, obviously, their cornerback, etc. But they still have their 5th-round draft pick. They still have their 6th-round draft pick. If the Cowboys get itchy, if the Cowboys feel like there's somebody they have to have, they could always utilize either that 5th or 6th or potentially both of those draft selections a year from now to move up in this class, to move up to get somebody. They haven't drafted a running back yet. I know all the Zeke Elliott discussion, blah, 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 blah. But if they feel like that player is there, they can totally dip into that well because they know they're going to have some 5th, some 6th, even potentially a 4th-round compensatory pick coming their way in 2025. All told, I'm pleased. And I hope that you are with the Cowboys. Now, what they've done doesn't make up for it, doesn't exonerate the lack of activity throughout free agency. But as far as grading what they've done throughout the draft specifically, they get a round of applause from me. They get a salute from me. They get a hug. Bring it in, Cowboys, because you've done a very fine job. But there's still a lot more work to do. And obviously, that's why we're going to be here on Saturday to discuss it all. Make sure to subscribe here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure to follow me as noted. My name is RJ Ochoa. I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at RJ Ochoa. I make it nice, simple, and easy for you. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's just been so much fun to talk about the draft, to experience it online with all of my internet friends. And I'm very excited for Saturday to see the newest members of the Dallas Cowboys because the ones they have are worth getting very, 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 very excited about. So thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Have a great rest of your Friday night, and we'll see you on Saturday.